Clocks on the stove.
Yes, clocks on the stove. Clocks on the stove.
Hey, man, I don't know what. He said clock on the stove, but they better take their ass home.
Yes.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Clocks on the stove. We got two very important people for a very important podcast. The usual, myself, Mr. Zasquatch. We also got the one and only Kaleb Karnes and Mr. Stuart Ford. We got a lot of things to talk about. We got the 5 Power 5 games, conference championships, Heisman, even if it's not even a competition anymore, and some new coaching changes in college football. So let's start us off. We got Friday night, 8 p.m. on Fox, the rematch between number 12 Utah and number 4 USC for the Pac-12 championship. USC coming in at a -3, over-under set at 67. Real rewind for everyone that doesn't remember, they played on October 15th where Utah won 43-42 at Utah on a game-winning 2-point conversion. And on top of that, that was when they had those like blackout unis representing the 2 players in their team that died. So, yeah, whoever wants to take us off, and what do they think is going to happen on Friday night between USC and Utah? Does USC find a way to get into the playoffs?
I mean, as of now, it looks like that's what it's setting up to be. I mean, Caleb Williams has played extremely well over the last couple of games. And obviously you brought up the Heisman race and kind of how that's solidified. I feel like it's just me hating if I said that they weren't going to get in, because, I mean, it literally took a 2-point conversion by Utah to win last time. And other than that, USC's played pretty solidly outside of that Oregon State game, I believe. This time around, I do think they get it done. I'm not sure exactly what the spread is this game. Oh,
-3 USC.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost too easy to take USC -3 there. So I don't know. I feel like for some reason Utah will keep it close again. They're a very respectable team. I feel like the last time I watched them play was that UF game, and they failed me. So I've always written them off since. But yeah, definitely feels like it's gonna be a high scoring game again. Williams is hot. Utes are probably gonna have to avoid making it a shootout, but that's like trying to avoid the so let's ride.
I think so too. There's no way that I don't see that Utah is going to beat them twice this year. I think that they're too good and too talented, and then like they want to make the playoff, and like they're going to be turned up and ready to go. So I think USC will win, sneak into the playoffs maybe, but I think that it'll be a close game. But I think USC -3 will cover too.
I mean, I came on here last time out of principle, and I was talking about like betting wise. This is just betting wise, like the public numbers, and I can't like everyone's on USC here. They looked so good against Notre Dame. Caleb Williams, I've loved USC all year, and I said from game 1 when Utah played Florida, they're frauds. That being said, last time these two teams played, I did take Utah. I hated taking Utah, but it ended up working out. Caleb Williams Heisman, like, odds are ridiculous. It's basically over.
It's his. It's basically his.
It's his. Yeah. I mean, basically, USC's a shoe-in for the CFP at this point if they win this game. That being said, I think we watch the WWE every weekend. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek for my Big 12 game too. If USC lost and TCU lost, would that mean that we have 2 usual candidates in the CFP and Bama and Ohio State? Do they sneak in, both of them? And then we have the 2 teams that put asses in seats? Is that what this
you gotta no. You don't put all right. We're getting into this quick. All right. You don't
I'm just saying, is that what's gonna make me take Utah?
Right, First of all, I hate USC. I hate Lincoln Riley. I hate USC. I hate how they just bought their team. I hate everything about them.
Yeah,
but I think they're gonna win. Yeah, no, they're good as hell. I think they're gonna win, and I think the reason it helped Utah last time, it was at Utah, and even Peterson said, like, when he used to be the coach of Washington, he's like, at Utah is a hard place to win. You know, they're rowdy. It being a neutral site game is definitely gonna help USC. Going back to your point, so I'm taking USC -3 as much as I want them. I'd rather them lose. If USC loses, they're gone. They're not in the playoffs. 2 losses, they're done. Mm-hmm. If TCU loses, you're going to put an Ohio State team that got mopped at home in over a team that lost in the conference championship. That makes no sense.
Who's better? Who do you think
Nothing
better?
makes sense with these
You should
people.
reward TCU for making the conference championship.
Okay,
I
who
agree
do you
with
think's
that.
better though?
It doesn't come down to who's better, Caleb.
I'm asking a
it's
question.
what have
Who do
you
think
done
is
with
better?
what you've
I'm
been
just
given?
asking. I'm just
No.
asking.
In your perfect world, it is not in their world. Who wants to sell? Who sells more, TCU or Ohio State? That's
I
what
agree.
it comes down to.
I'm
If
sorry.
Tennessee just didn't fucking shit the bed, it'd be them, bro. But they're
Fuck Tennessee.
Anyways, I got to get my picks. Anyways, so I mean, I think USC wins. They just have to win. But I'm saying that's just a theory that I'm throwing
all right.
out.
Wait, let Zach. I want to
Surprised
see
if
what
that
Zach was
happened.
about to say. Zach was about to say something.
Here's the thing. A Kansas State loss versus a Michigan loss is two entirely different losses.
I agree, but dude, they got mopped at home and not in the championship game. TCU won the regular season; they're undefeated.
Oh, I'm well aware, but TCU is also one of those teams where like they didn't want them in to begin with. They just kind of did their thing all year, and we're kind of like, look, the reason why we went to a 14 playoff is because teams like UCF, who went undefeated, we're like, all right, we kind of have to give them their respect, so we have to let teams like this in. College playoff doesn't respect them. They don't like them. They're waiting, begging for them to have one tiny little slip up just so they could be like, oh, well, you fucked up. Sorry. Like, better luck next year. Like, that's exactly what
and I do agree that Ohio State would bring in more money and views, but TCU is a Texas school, bro. They got a big support. And it's not like Cincinnati. Like
they're not the same as Ohio State. They're not even close.
I agree, bro, but
if we're going by morals and stuff, TCU technically is the right school. But I mean, like I've said, I think they would take Ohio State just out of what we've seen out of them.
In my personal opinion, like if I was the committee, Georgia, Michigan, and TCU are in no matter what. They're locked in my opinion.
I don't think TCU should be.
I think that they're in the same fucking shoes as you, Caleb. They're undefeated regular season in the
Okay, so you think if we lose to Purdue, then we're out, or we're gonna make it?
I think you should, yes.
Okay. But like who's our best win? Who's TCU's best win? Going in and beating Ohio State by 20, bro, is nuts.
I agree, and I think you should. I think Georgia and Michigan should be locked in.
I think they're locked in for sure. I don't think TCU is in.
Yeah, I don't think TCU
partially
is.
because of their schedule and partially because of their brand. Like I'd say 80% of their schedule and what they've done, they've looked good, but it's still Big 12.
Yeah, but
and
also
like Oklahoma's had a down year. Like teams
schedule.
have had a down year, and then they're not.
Schedules are made 3 to 4 years in advance. Sonny Dykes came in, and with what they had at the table, with the cards they were given, he's done great.
4 ranked wins.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? Fuck you, Stu. We're moving on to the next game.
I didn't even get my picks.
Who do you got in the USC game?
I'm gonna take Utah +3, and then I'm gonna take the under. So let me just put those down for me.
Oh yeah.
Right. For the Big 12 championship game, since Stu was so eager to jump in and get it started with that. Number 13 Kansas State versus number 3 TCU. TCU coming in at -2.5, over under set at 62. It's going to our college game day, which is so weird because going into this, who would have thought this was the college game day, the Big 12 championship? Noon on ABC Saturday. The last time they played, October 22nd. Number 8 TCU beat the number 17 Kansas State 38-28 at TCU. I'll start us off with this one. I don't see in any way whatsoever Kansas State wins other than TCU beating themselves. I think Kansas State this whole season has been extremely overrated, and they've taken advantage of the Big 12 sucking, and it's making them look better rather than them actually being as good as they are. All they do is run. They don't throw the ball. Their quarterback runs, their other quarterback runs. They have 2 running backs. Like they just run the ball. And I think TCU is going to shut it down. I think TCU's offensive production is extremely underrated. They put 24 on Iowa State in 12 minutes. Yeah, Iowa State's not great, but 24 points in 12 minutes, that's fucking good, dude. That's good football. I think Sonny Dykes is locked for Coach of the Year. I think we all agree on this. How do you not give him Coach of the Year? His first year there, he takes him 12-0 in the regular season. And on top of that, he lost half of his fucking team when he came because they all transferred out. His best player, Zach Evans, dipped on him with the Ole Miss for the lane train. Sorry, too soon, Stu. Anyways, I think TCU's a lock. I think the only thing that would fuck them is if it is in Arlington, Texas, so it is basically a home game, by the way. And the other thing is if they get in their own head. They're a way better team than Kansas State. Kansas State hasn't done shit for me to believe that they deserve to be ranked higher than Florida State. I think that's ridiculous. But I think and it is college football, like Stu said, this is the WWE fucking E. I can see TCU shitting the bed and doing it, but I think TCU, let's see over under 62. I'm not gonna touch I'm gonna take TCU 2.5, and I think it's gonna be a close game. Not because how good Kansas is, but because how oh shit TCU is gonna be.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If you're that much of a better team, you wouldn't have gone into halftime trailing 28-17, have to roar back your offense. I'm kind of in that position where I feel like Kansas State just has to, I don't know, this time around, you have to step on defense. I know it's hard to say considering we are talking about the Big 12 and defense isn't necessarily prime example of what defines their conference. But, here are some things. Kansas State is the number 2 team in the country in the turnover margin. I think that's the number one thing they have to get Max Duggan to do in this one. And that's at least a turnover or 2 if they want a chance to win this game. They're an extremely hot team out the gate, with their running attack. I think Martinez and Vaughn are exceptional players in that regard. I think they have a chance to get out ahead early. And if that's the case, you just have to slow TCU down as much as possible. TCU, I think, is the number 1 scoring defense in the country, which is why they're so good. We say in years past, what makes Big 12 teams great is when they are able to play defense sufficiently. We've seen Oklahoma teams in years past that are just able to put it together because they have competent defenses. Kansas State and TCU are both competent defenses. It's all about whether they can just show up on the biggest of stages, which is going to prove a point. I do agree with you. I don't think they've played up in regards to Kansas State. I don't think they've played up to their standard this year. They've underperformed in a ton of games and gotten upset by opponents that, I think they should have handled pretty easily. But in terms of TCU, I just got a weird feeling, man. It feels like something's going to allow Ohio State to get back in this playoffs, and it's either going to be a USC or TCU loss. And I don't see USC losing to Utah twice. So some bullshit's got to occur. And my bullshit, unfortunately, is going to fall on the Horned Frogs.
We better get some awful refs in this game. You already know.
Oh, we're gonna see some BI calls. We're gonna see some roughing the passers that you have no idea where the hell they came up with that shit. I just know something's going to go down. The fix is in, and it's in for Kansas State.
I didn't even know until I wasn't even looking at the notes really. And now I see it right here until you said it, Grayson. College game days here. They're literally priming you for this. You know what they're going to be talking about the whole time. If TCU loses, are they going to be in the playoff? Is Ohio State going to get back in? It's all they're going to be saying all morning. Kansas State's going to come out there and rock them. By the points to 3. I don't think
plus 3.
I'm just being dramatic, but I seriously my theory is lining up perfectly right now. I hate taking my theory, but as an Auburn fan, I'm putting Bama in with Ohio State. I don't like either of those teams. I hate Ohio State, and I have no reason to.
We all hate Ohio State. Zach some reason likes Ohio State.
So I have again the dog in this game, Kansas State by the points to 3, and let's see if my theory works. If it doesn't, hand up, I'm a moron, but I have this itch right now.
I think that my gut just says that TCU is gonna win. They're the better team and they're gonna handle it. But then I always go back, and that's me being a square. And then I go back and I'm like, okay, yeah, Stu and Zach are right. There's no way that this is just going to work out perfectly. And USC is going to get in, TCU is going to get in. Something's got to shake. And Kansas State is the team to do it, that they're going to upset. They do this every year. They beat people. They
always beat Oklahoma or Texas. Yeah,
they do it every year. So I'll take the plus 3-2 or 2.5, whatever it is, and let Kansas State rock. Even though my gut just wants to be TCU is going to blow these motherfuckers out by 14. But I guess I'll just say Kansas State.
I do have to say, the reason why I want Kansas State to win so badly is because when we did our breakdown in the beginning of the year of who we thought was going to win their conference championships outright, I did say Kansas State.
Zach did say Kansas State. That's right.
You're right. I will forever hold that anyway. I need
right. I forgot about that.
I need Kansas State to pull this off.
I feel like it's pretty obvious, but I'm going to state it. I feel like this game goes 2 ways. TCU comes in, they put 20 up in the first quarter, and they just take it away. Or Kansas State keeps it low and boring as fuck. They cannot score touchdown for touchdown with TCU. They just can't. That's not how their offense is built. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And I think they obviously do. They're good. They're in the freaking Big 12 championship. Also, another note. Last year, we're in a really weird situation. Last year, this TCU Kansas State game we're having was Oklahoma State Baylor, where all Oklahoma State had to do was win, and they were in the college football playoff.
That was a
And
great
they got
game.
stuffed at the 1. So does history repeat itself? Because it was the same scenario. Same scenario. Oklahoma State beat Baylor last year in the regular season, and then all they had to do was win, and Cincinnati would never touch the playoffs. And they lost on that last play.
I kind of want to change my answer. I'm going to go TCU just because fuck Ohio State. They're not getting in. Their season's fucking over. They're done. They got
Caleb's just
stomped.
scared to play them again.
Fuck no. If we play them in the Natty, okay, come here, boy.
Talk about money, though.
Work
Yeah.
number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Their season's done. TCU.
I do have to say I've been like basically a conspiracy theorist here on this episode. I gotta give respect to TCU. What a great year! What a turnaround! And obviously, I think I'm the only one here. Everyone said something negative about USC, but they've taken them. I actually like USC, and I'm the only one not taking them. I think they're lit. I think their defense looked really good against Notre Dame too, honestly. And I loved Caleb. When I first saw Caleb Williams, I said before the season he's going to be the Heisman. But that's the reason I'm about to say is
we have
not
receipts for that?
Huh?
We have receipts for that?
Okay, yeah. But the nails, we haven't mentioned the nails.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
ND on his nails.
Oh, I didn't know
nails,
that.
which I think is sus, but he literally put fuck ND with like a smiley face on his nails, and he was holding a football. It was a cool picture. But
I think Stu's crushing on Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
maybe I am.
He's blushing a little bit.
Maybe I am.
No, he's a dog, though. I mean, I don't like Lincoln Riley because I think what he did at Oklahoma was some coward pussy shit. And I would say that to his face if he was sitting in front of me. I think he's a phenomenal coach.
Like what Luke Fickell did, right?
It's so different, though. It's
Okay.
so different.
Okay.
It's
We'll address
different.
that later. We'll address
Yeah,
that
we
later.
can talk about how they're different later. But anyways, I think what he did was some pussy shit. And obviously I understand why he did it. I mean, they're giving the man not 1 but 2 mansions, 24 hours whenever you want a jet. You wake up at 5 a.m. You're like, you know what? I want to just fly to Hawaii and just get my jet guy. You know, so
You'd be an idiot to not do the deal.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never disliked Caleb Williams. I've always been a huge Caleb Williams fan. That kid's football IQ is nutty. Speaking
Or you
of
can make
Kansas
every
State,
throw too.
or no, Kansas. Remember last year they were losing to Kansas, and on that 4th down play, the running back was getting tackled, and he strips it from the running back to run the first down to win the game.
That's a future New York Giant. Saying it right now.
That kid's a dog, dude. He's
really good.
He's really good, and I think the fact of the matter is that he's had so much talent around him that he kind of doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, dude, what's Jordan Ross or Aiden? No, who's his
Addison.
Jordan Addison, dog. Like,
Yeah,
dog.
he's very
He's
lit.
good too.
Yeah. But anyways, moving on, SEC. I feel like we're all gonna have the same opinions on this. We got number.
So.
If LSU beat Texas A&M. By the way, knew it was a trap game. I said I don't have any receipts, but when we were at I think we were at World of Beer in Tallahassee, I was with like my friend Reed and Jay, their families and stuff. I was sitting there with Scott, Reed's dad, and I was like, one of 2 things is gonna happen today. Either Notre Dame's gonna beat USC or Texas A&M's beating LSU. Those 2 teams are not leaving both with a win. And I wanted it to be USC losing Notre Dame, but it was LSU. Dude, I hate Jimbo so much too, and that's just gonna.
He's such a bitch.
That was the battle of my least favorite coaches.
Yeah,
me too.
I kind of like Brian Kelly. But number 11 LSU versus number 1 Georgia, -17.5 favorite Georgia. Talk about fucking wow. Over under set at 51. Saturday, December 3rd. on CBS. These 2 teams have not played. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If LSU went out and beat Texas A&M the way they were going to, I would have taken LSU today. I would have picked LSU. But they're going to get mopped. -17.5 though. I don't know. I don't want to be the first person to give my opinion on this.
Bro.
I am taking that -17.5. And the reason is for those of you that didn't know, Jaden Daniels was injured in that Texas A&M loss. He is in a walking boot and he will be monitored throughout practice. I do think he will end up playing, but the problem is that Georgia defense is going to hit the shit out of him. And if he is not 100%, he will be knocked out of that game. And at that point, who knows? Here's the biggest factor, though, in deciding whether or not this is going to get to -17 or not, and that is strictly will the LSU run defense hold up or not. I don't know. I feel like Georgia's primarily kind of relying on Stetson Bennett to get things done. He has made some huge strides in taking over this offense this year. They lost 15 players last year due to the draft, and a lot of questions came in with, is Stetson going to be able to be a leader of this team, be able to step up when it matters? The answer is yes. He has done it this year pretty consistently too, and that's why I'm taking them. Another thing I'm going to say is, from a betting perspective, Georgia, I think, is 6-6 attacking the spread this season, but they're 3-0 in any spread under 20 points, which is pretty ridiculous. When people kind of give other teams some props against them, Georgia just flat out shows why they're a completely better team across the board. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Look, no knock to Brian Kelly and what he's done this year for the LSU Tigers. I think Jaden Daniels has led that team phenomenally. They've had huge wins over Alabama and other SEC schools. They've done a great job. The problem is you are running into a legit juggernaut in college football. Like, that's plain and simple what it is. What I'm probably going to see in this game is I'm just going to see a Bulldogs team that's going to shut them down extremely early. I mean, dude, this LSU team struggled against Arkansas, dude. Like, piss poor against Arkansas, and I just can't see them getting it done. I'm going to take Georgia -17.5.
I am too. I feel like LSU either looks like they look like one of the top teams in the SEC, or like they just look like so sloppy, like they'll be fumbling and like they'll just look like straight shit. So like, and I don't think that since Daniels is in a boot, like they're just not going to have enough like firepower to go up against Georgia. I think the 17.5 will hit for Georgia too, but I think LSU will probably play sloppy and fuck Brian Kelly. They kind of are they've been to me all year, and like they've had some good games, but like I think that they've been a little overrated too.
Yeah, it's Georgia all the way. I've hated LSU since Brian Kelly's been signed. Then I've seen through them this whole season, starting from game one, had FSU until last game, had Texas A&M. I haven't bet on LSU one game. I haven't bet on against them every game either, but I just think they're frauds. I can't believe that they're the team that is in the SEC championship right now. I really don't like them. I would say, and I didn't even know about the Jaden Daniels news that he was in a boot. So I would say, if you're going to take Georgia, that news is probably baked into that line. So I think if you're going to take Georgia, take them now, because if by some weird reason he actually is out, that line is going to probably shift 4 more points. But if he's in, it's not going to move at all. So there's really no upside in you waiting. I would just get on it if you're like really like, oh my gosh, Georgia's going to crush them. Like, if you really love it. That's really all I have to say.
I agree. I'm gonna take Georgia -17.5. But I do want to give Brian Kelly a shout out. I mean, he lost to Florida State in a nail biter opening season neutral site game in New Orleans, and they already had boosters talking about firing him, getting a new person. Like, the second he got hired to step foot to coach his first game, it's been nothing but fuck you to Brian Kelly from the LSU community, and he's done a spectacular job in his first season. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna ever win a natty or win the SEC or anything, but bro, 9-3 in their first year when they were 5-7 last year? That's not bad, dude. That's really not bad. He doesn't even have his own guys yet. I do think Jalen Daniels helped him a lot, obviously, but I think LSU is going to be a contender from here on out in the SEC personally. Caleb's game, Big Ten championship, unranked Purdue versus number 2 Michigan. Michigan coming in at -16.5, over under set at 52. This game will be on Saturday, 8 p.m. on Fox. These two teams have not faced yet. But before we dive into it, I'd like to spit out some statistics. Head coach Jeff Brom for Purdue is 3-0 versus top 3 ranked teams. Okay, there's one. And the other statistic I have is Purdue is known to play well against teams that have funny numbers in front of their names. And on top of that, this game's in Indiana, so it will be a Purdue home game. It is going to be damn near a Purdue home game. But let's not forget when in the what's it called? They've beaten in the last 5 years, they've beaten a number 2 Iowa, 3rd ranked Michigan State, and a number 2 Ohio State. And Purdue's 2-0 this year against ranked teams. That's all I gotta say. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
let Caleb start it off, but that's all I gotta say.
So like all I'm thinking about is when you bring up Purdue, I'm just like thinking about Rondell Moore like going fucking nuts and like on Ohio State. I'm just thinking
Yeah.
about those games where I'm like, dang, like how the fuck are or like their white quarterback just like throwing dots. I'm like, bro, fuck this. But anyway, bro, I think this was like kind of like the same thing with Iowa last year. It was like us like people were like, oh, like, are they gonna win? Like Iowa has this and that. Like, I feel like that like we're so like locked in right now, bro. After we beat Ohio State, like we're looking forward. We're about to play like we're playing in the playoff, bro. Like I think the first half we handled it nicely and like it'll be over from there. Hopefully Corum. I don't even want him to play, honestly. I want him to try to like sit and rest his knee and like our other guys be able to take care of business and then let him be ready for the playoff. But like I don't want to say we're looking for, but I think we handle business and like get it done, honestly. I think Jim will have them good. Like last year when we stomped fucking Iowa. I think it'll be good.
I have a unique insight because I'm Caleb's roommate. So last year when Ohio State lost to Michigan, I was like gassed up. I was so gassed because I had nothing to root for. I'm an Auburn fan. And I'm like, and I bet a ton on Michigan too. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Michigan's gonna roll next week. And Caleb's like pumping the brakes. He's like, Iowa's defense is good. Iowa's tough. And I'm like, dude, they're gonna crush them. I just remember him being like, yeah, we're gonna win. Obviously, he's like, we're gonna win, but he was being like modest. This year, it's a completely different. It's like a 360. Like he's just confident that they're gonna get the job done, which is he was confident last year, but in a different way. Like he was just like, yo, pump the brakes. This year, he's like, nah, we're good. Like, I don't know if that's a road win against Ohio State, but like that's just something to take note of. Now, those stats I think are kind of null because 3-0 against top 3 teams. You said or top 5?
Top 3.
Top 3. Either way, I don't think they're going to win the game. The cover was looking good to me until I pulled up their schedule. They lost 24-3 against Iowa.
Bro,
I know. I understand.
They should have lost that.
Why I should like them. Like why I should like them, but I don't think I can fade Michigan here. I remember last game, I think this is kind of like a cakewalk for Michigan. Everyone knows they're going to get in. And if they lose, they still are going to get in. I think they're just going to kind of like impose their will, not like crush them, but just like win the game. And I think it's going to be a slow game on the ground. Under 52 is my play. Primetime unders, I can always go with those and not be afraid. Primetime unders, we're going under 52.
Yeah, give me so I made all these jokes like poke at Caleb, but that Iowa team you guys played last year was actually a really good Iowa team. They had a top 5 defense. They were the number one. They had the number 1 turnovers. They had number 1 secondary interceptions because Dane Belton was leading that secondary. That was an actual really good Iowa team last year.
With no offense per usual.
Yeah, no offense, but it doesn't matter. Their defense was scoring, and that was the problem. This Purdue team is nothing like that. I mean, who would have thought Illinois was just shit the bed at the end of the season as hard as they did? Who would have thought Wisconsin was just going to have this Wisconsin-ass year? And then I don't know what it is with the ESPN loving PJ Fleck in Minnesota, but they put him in like he wins 2 games, they put him at 15, and then he loses to like 3 in a row every year. I think he's so overrated. I think he's a super cool guy, and he's building culture at Minnesota, but I think he's overrated as fuck.
He's been building culture for like a decade.
Yeah, he has.
Feels like
bro, since like for like 5-6 years now, and like come on, I had one good year.
Yeah. Anyways, Purdue should have lost to fucking FAU this year, and I know because everyone at FAU was going nuts. They beat them 28-26. This Purdue team sucks. They're really bad. With that being said, I'm gonna take Purdue plus 16.5. I just don't think Michigan's gonna run it up on them. Now, if they do, fuck me, you know. I'm also gonna take the under with you there on Stu. I think when Michigan played Ohio State, they knew they needed something big. They knew they couldn't just go 1-1 with them. When they're playing Purdue, they don't want big things to happen because that's how Purdue upsets. They want to keep it dumb and boring and just get the drives, make the plays you're supposed to make. There's no reason to do anything crazy. If we leave here with a 21-10 win, that's fine. We just got to make sure we get in the playoffs. And
that's what I'm saying.
That's how they're going to approach it, which is not a bad approach. No. I'm not shitting on that, but I do think that's why Michigan's not going to win by 17.
That's what I was saying about like where Jim's just gonna have them ready to go. Like they know the mission at this point. Just win the fucking game. Like we're better than them. Don't do anything fucking stupid. Like you could see when we beat Ohio State, like they're fucking headbutting our guys, bro. They're not. Ryan Day is not a leader of men, bro. They're freaking soft.
And then he tried to fight Shiano. We already know Shiano.
Dude,
whooped that
fuck him,
ass.
dude. Oh my god.
Shiano would have
fuck Ryan Day.
slapped Ryan Day, bro.
Oh,
He's a
murder.
loser. He's a loser.
Last thing I'm gonna say about this game, I would have much rather. I'm like Illinois would have scared me way more than
Illinois,
Purdue.
dude, Illinois
would've
versus
scared me.
y'all in this game would have been scary.
Yeah, I would have been
It
scared.
Scary.
But fuck
That
Purdue.
Illinois team is not bad.
No, they're good, dude.
Chase Brown's a dog.
Dude, Johnny Newton is a fucking beast, dog.
Dude, their defense is so good. Dude, Illinois is not bad.
They're
under
good.
five.
They could be good in years to come too. Like it looks like a culture thing there.
Dude, Brett Bielema had Wisconsin winning 2 Big Ten championships.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Watts.
I'm just gonna run some numbers by y'all, and I'm gonna see if they hit home for anyone. Last year, Michigan played, I believe, in the championship.
Iowa.
Yeah, they played Purdue last time played Purdue 28-10 Wolverines. Look, here's where the money is going from a public's perspective, and this is where like it kind of seems like a little too like people are leaning too much to one side. 80% of the people are taking Michigan in the spread. 90% of the people are taking the money line, and 93% of the public is taking the over. Something isn't adding up. I don't like it at all. I think Michigan is going to win this game handily. However, they're going to win the first half handily. Once they hit the second half, being up 20 points or so, we're going to be seeing some second string guys that aren't going to give a shit, and they're just going to be looking forward to next week and hopefully playing in the college football playoff. With that being said, Purdue still doesn't have a quarterback. He's back home with his family. With his whole situation.
Wait, O'Connell's not playing?
No, he remains away from the team. QB coach Brian Brom says he's back home now, visiting with family and processing all that. He'll come back when he's ready. It was amazing what he did last week. I'm sure he'll be ready to go in this game.
He'll play.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say. He did lose his older brother before the game last week, which is why
that might make you a little nervous, Caleb.
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
he's playing for his boy, dude. He's playing for his brother.
I hope I'm not like, hey, I'm sorry about that, but I just don't think.
Dude did beat Illinois. He may have one last thing to prove and have a legendary college football story of all time. But I think the legendary status ends at covering the minus 16.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he'll backdoor cover us. Thank you.
Like
that.
Be like, brother, I did it. We covered.
Right, we are going to hell. Yeah, we'll give me Purdue minus 16.5. Jesus, I'm taking the under too. I don't know. 90% of the people think they're smart and taking that. Vegas knows something. We all know this shit's rigged for money.
Hey, Caleb, you took Michigan money line or Michigan.
I'll do the spread. I'll do money line, and I like the under too.
I've never taken a pick and then felt so reinforced after it. This is great. And like reinforced for the right reasons, not like, oh, I think they both are gonna be like slow scoring. No, like those are like actual facts that are gonna back this up. Let's ride this under. We're gonna have a great game of explosive, maybe even some upsets in the early windows, and then we're gonna get to the prime time and we're just gonna be like, our brains are just gonna be like, this is the slowest, most boring game of all time, and we're cashing the fuck out.
The worst was in 2019 when Wisconsin went up 21-3 on Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. And I'm on my phone. I'm so drunk after the FAU tailgate. And I'm like, fuck Ohio State. You guys suck. And then my phone dies. Ohio State comes back and whoops our ass. And then I get it plugged in. And it's just message after message after message from every person I know that's an Ohio State fan. Like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Bro, I will literally not chirp against Ohio State until there's like 1 minute left and I know we're gonna win. Like I literally will shut the fuck up I'll shut the fuck up all day.
I just drunk and excited. It's like
yeah.
Same with Bama.
Anyway,
It's so scary.
Before we go to the probably the shittiest game, did y'all see the graphic? I think it was during the Notre Dame USC game where they're like Heisman watches and they snuck JJ McCarthy in there.
Bro.
And they're like, yeah, we all see what you're doing, bro. Like you couldn't put the Gorham graphics, you threw JJ McCarthy.
No, yeah, I will talk about that when we get into the Heisman, but yeah, Corum easily, bro. Just because he missed like one game and like that was bullshit.
Dude, also speaking on that real quick, sorry, Zach. You guys should have never let him touch the field. That was fucking retarded. Why?
I think I don't know. He wanted to try and go. He looked like
for
shit,
2
dude.
days and then his leg got hurt again. Like that made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, but like, we had to try something, I guess.
If anything, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, I think that Ohio State ass whooping hurt Blake Corum's Heisman hopes. If anything, the fact that your backup running back ran for like 200 fucking yards,
Dude, he's fire, bro. He was a 5-star coming in. Like he's
I
like
agree
that,
with
bro.
Zach. It showed that you guys didn't need Corum to win, and Heisman
We
is
needed
kind of
him.
like you need someone.
We needed him 1 by 20.
Yeah,
I'm saying we need him going forward. The other guy.
I think it was so dumb you guys even let him touch the field. Like he should have never, ever, ever. What you should have done is had him warm up and make it look like he's playing, and then not put him in the game. I think that's so dumb.
Like honestly, like I can't even. The only thing that I'll say about that is like, I don't know why they would put him in when he literally went for 2 plays. Like, how do you not like? And you saw the cuts he was making where he was like, "Fuck, like that hurt." Like, how do you not even find that?
Give him like a standard route. They gave him like one where he had to be shifty too. Like,
well, I'm saying like, I know you tried to do a jump cut, but I was like, how do you not like know in warmups like, oh shit, like I'm not even gonna be able to try that in a game. Like, imagine like one of those 300-pound motherfuckers coming at you and you got to cut and you're like, my knee.
But like going in, like you said, there's probably 30 minutes before the game where he's doing cuts and he's hitting people. Like he should have been able to. You're Heisman. You're probably the Heisman hopeful going into this game. Like you should have known your knee wasn't good. Yeah. Now, obviously, he was probably bitching at Harbaugh like I want to play. But like, I don't know, dude. What if those two plays he ran screwed him over?
That's why I don't want him to play this week, bro. Let's just go out there.
There's no point. Yeah, there's no point in him playing this week
because we need him the next game.
So our most unexciting, no one really gives a single shit about game, the ACC championship between number 24 UNC and number 10 Clemson. This game is always played in North Carolina, so it'll probably be. Clemson, South Carolina, probably pretty good crowd. Clemson coming in at a -7.5. Over/under set at 63.5. 8 p.m. on ABC. These teams have not played yet, but both of these teams got spanked by Notre Dame this year.
Well, I just think that this game is so boring. I'm not even gonna be tuned into it. 8 p.m. That's when Michigan's playing. Like, I don't think anybody gives a shit about this game because like every other game is gonna have it. Like everyone else, one of the teams is gonna be in the playoffs. So like those are important. This is just like
oh no, this game means fucking nothing.
It means it doesn't mean anything.
You're playing for a New Year's Six bowl. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And Clemson is not even a top 10 team to me at this. Like they haven't been all year. I don't know where the WWE, I guess, but like they haven't been good like all year. Like maybe they had a few good games, but like they looked like shit like almost the whole season.
No, but even last year when they weren't great, they still had like their defense was still nasty.
Yeah.
This year it's like what the fuck?
No, like like I don't know if Dabo I don't know. They missed Brent Venables, that's for sure.
But, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just take I think UNC's kind of poo. So I'm gonna do Clemson. I'll do Clemson -7.5. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew, I fucking hate them.
Yeah. I feel like this is pretty obvious. Look, UNC has 0 ranked wins this year, and they're coming off back-to-back losses to freaking Georgia Tech and NC State, bro. Like, I can't respect you. I'm sorry. As for Clemson, unfortunate that they had to drop that game against South Carolina. I feel like they got exposed for what they were. They played some pretty close games this year that shouldn't have been close. They do have a couple ranked wins in there at the time. But I don't know. I don't see Clemson screwing up back-to-back weeks. Not going to happen. Give me Clemson -7.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to keep it short. Like, it has to be Clemson. I mean, like, back to WWE. If they get in a New Year's Six bowl, people care more just about the name than they care about UNC. Credit to South Carolina. They've gotten hot right at the end. So that was a good win for them. I think Clemson should have never been. They were like number 2 at one point, right? Like for nothing.
South Carolina, they'd be like 5 right now.
Yeah, but like undeservingly, like it's just not there. Like what DJ had like 99 passing yards. It's ridiculous. But this is Dabo's situation. He loves it at the end of the day. He loves the attention.
Yeah.
I think Clemson's gonna roll low key, but I don't love this game. Out of all the games, I hate this game the most, betting wise, and just not even gonna tune in. So yeah, Clemson I'd love to buy it to -7 too, if possible. 7.5.
I was at World of Beer, like I said, when they lost South Carolina, and we were in Tallahassee because I was at the UF game, and we all were cheering for Clemson because if Clemson would have won, and then Clemson goes to the playoffs, that meant Florida State would have been the ACC representative for the New Year's Six Bowl, and all that went straight down the fucking toilet. How do you go up 14-0 in the first 5 minutes of the game and then just start sucking? And like I
Dude,
don't.
they're losers. They're losers. I can't. That game was ridiculous.
I think it
watched that
really
game.
shows how impactful Venables was. I think it does. I think he did a lot more than just run the defense, and it's starting to show. DJU's gone. He's gone.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even be that mad if he came to Wisconsin. Honestly. Cade Klubnik's your guy.
You're a
Cade Klubnik's your
sicko.
dog. Okay. I'm gonna take Clemson -7.5. But my thing is for you guys, what do you think happened to Clemson? Like what do you think's going on there? Because obviously something bad. I don't know if Dabu lost the locker room. The recruiting's still good. They still have great recruiting. I don't understand what it is that.
I feel like it's a mixture of things. Like it's a hard fall off when you go from Deshaun Watson to Trevor Lawrence. Was that right there, or was that whoever was in between? But whatever. Like those are two
Kelly
elite
Bryant
guys.
for like a little bit.
But Kelly Brown wasn't even bad.
Yeah, whatever. Look, but Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence are like two of like some of the best college football like quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So like it's hard to like go from that to go to like they thought DJ was going to be the guy and he just wasn't. And I think that it was hard for them to like really come back when you have such elite quarterback play and you have those dudes that can make every throw and like really like outright just win you the games. And DJ couldn't do that. I think that that's a mixture of them going quick 3 and outs, defense getting tired, even though defense is really like fucking good. I just think it's a mixture of all that. I don't know about Dabo in the locker room. That could also be the case, but I think that the lack of quarterback play has hurt them really bad.
I think that's a really good point by Caleb. Like, I think you kind of get comfortable because like we were literally in like the beginning of high school at the point when Deshaun was there. Like you get comfortable with, and Taj Boyd was lit before that.
Yeah, Taj Boyd. I loved Taj Boyd.
Me too. He was fire.
Good quarterbacks and fire wide receivers for a decade almost. Like, dude, you're gonna just get used to it. And with DJ coming in as a 5-star like top recruit, his build, like he looks like a good quarterback. He just does. So when the decision making's not there and the confidence isn't there, and he has that really good game, his first game ever, you kind of just want to ride him until the wheels fall off, and the wheels have fallen off at this point. And not to mention losing Venables and Tony Elliott do not help at all. You lose both coordinators on both sides of the ball.
And I want to say Venables was a key part of recruiting. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, he is. Obviously, he's the DC. Like, he's head of Oklahoma now. I think they're going to be good down the road. Right now, they've had a down year, obviously, but I like Venables.
I think Venables.
Auburn, I would have. Oh my gosh.
I think Venables was the best person for Oklahoma. I think he was the best candidate for them.
Yeah, he's a good fit there for sure. Like I think he is, because if you get a defense in the Big 12, you win automatically.
Well, that's the thing. And in the next 2 years, they're going to go to the SEC. So their mindset was like, we got a great offense. Let's just get someone that can get our defense ready for the SEC, and he's the guy. Yeah. It doesn't help him though that when he goes there, the entire fucking roster transfers. You know, it doesn't really help him. Mm-hmm. But I think you're both right. I do think there's something sketchy going on with Dabo though. I don't know if that Venables was like the guy that like lit the fire under their ass. I do think he played a bigger part than what we think, because Dabu's always me. Like I want the attention. And I also think that without Venables there, their defense hasn't been as scary. I remember like the 2 years they won the Natty, or even the year that they lost to Ohio State with Trevor Lawrence, their defense was gross.
Yeah.
Like you were like quarterbacks were shaking to play their defense.
Yeah, they always had like some crazy middle linebacker and then like
like
crazy dudes on the edge.
Lockdown corners.
Yeah.
Like that was like that's how when I think of the best Clemson teams, I think of like just dogs. And it's like they don't have that this year. They don't really have like a threat. Their defense is still great, but I think if their defense was to the caliber it was when they won the Natty, it would take a little bit of pressure off of DJ. And I think DJ has the tools. He has a good deep ball. He can throw pinpoint passes. It's that he doesn't. You know, it's the same thing with Graham Hurts at fucking Wisconsin. He has all the tools. He can make the throws. He can read the reads. He just doesn't. And I think DJ's in his own head. I think he's got to get out of Clemson, go to a smaller school and just fucking rake, and then get your confidence back up.
Yeah, like a reset almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Zach, you got anything to say?
I mean, nah, man. I kind of tend to avoid the whole Clemson talk. I don't really know. I'm more interested in seeing this coaching carousel, honestly.
So let's right before we do that, Heisman. I think you give it to Caleb Williams no matter what. I think even if he plays like shit versus you, see that's the only thing. We all agree that right now, if Caleb Williams wins the Pac-12, he gets the Heisman.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what the stats are next to each other, but like I've watched a lot of Bryce Young this year, and he's fucking him, bro.
Yeah, but wins matter too, bro. They do.
I know.
Matter.
I mean, they still would have. They won 11 games.
Yeah, but Bryce Young didn't play in 2 games this year.
He didn't. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying Caleb shouldn't get it. I'm just saying.
No, I think Bryce Young's extremely underrated. I think their offense isn't as good as it used to be, and he makes up for it.
Bro, I swear, I don't know what game it was. The refs really just let the fucking D line like abuse him. He's getting fucking hit where like other players, I swear, are getting targetings and late hits, bro. He's eating them bitches, getting up, throwing another dot, and just like still running that bitch. Like,
I mean, I'm always an Alabama hater, but I do fuck with Bryce Young. I think he's.
I'm not even an Alabama hater, bro. I stand Alabama. Like, I love Nick Saban. I love their players.
You're an Alabama guy.
Yeah, like I mean, my sister went there. I went there for a year. Like I fuck with them. Michigan's still my number one, like always, but Bama, like I fuck with them.
Well, I mean, last year Bryce Young got the Heisman off of default. Like there was just no other person that was going to win, which was super annoying it was super annoying for me as an Auburn fan. Like he was the best player, but I didn't think he was like a Heisman in other years. So that was annoying for me. This year, I don't think he deserves the Heisman, but he's won. Like I'll respect him, dude. He's played way better this year, just in my opinion. Like last year, here was my thing. He was just chucking it to J-Mo and all these like lit wide receivers. This year,
and fucking
This year, the person who has the most touches on the field, like, is Gibbs. Like, even receptions, like he's had to like make plays himself. And they're not checkdowns. Like he makes plays. Like I've watched multiple Bama games this year. I can respect him at this point. I don't know if he's gonna be good in the NFL, but yeah. To answer your question, Caleb Williams is the Heisman. There's really it's kind of almost the same thing at default right now. Who's going to beat him in this week?
Yeah.
Who? Nobody. Even if he has a bad game, like JJ McCarthy has to throw for like 500.
There's
JJ cannot get it.
If he does, he's not getting
it. I'm just saying they put him in the graphic like they might be cooking it
Dude,
for him.
Yeah, because they have no one else to put.
That annoyed me, bro.
Yeah.
I think JJ's good. I don't think he's elite. And I think
I don't think he's ever going to be a Heisman.
What about the games he sucked dick this year? No one's talking about that.
Trust me, I've watched them all.
Remember the Ohio State game?
Bro, Blake Corum should have been that fucking guy, bro. He's a dog, bro. He should have been up. They should have put him in the graphic at least.
All right, let's do a hypothetical.
Okay.
Caleb Williams gets hurt or sucks ass against Utah and they lose. Who gets the Heisman?
Caleb Williams.
Still?
I think
he's minus 3,300. The next person is Stroud. He's not going to be playing.
Bro, but I understand that. But what if Caleb Williams shits the bed and they lose to Utah and he has a bad game? When he played Oregon State, he played like shit.
If Caleb Williams has 5 yards and 3 picks, he still gets the Heisman. If you could tell me someone that else is going to get the Heisman, Corum's not playing, Stroud's not playing. What's going to happen?
Bryce Young isn't playing.
Yeah, no one that can.
I agree, dude, but like that doesn't look good. That makes it interesting.
I think it makes it interesting. He's going to be minus 1,000 odds instead of minus 3,000. Like he's still going to be the favorite by a wide margin.
Yeah, I agree.
Because no one is there to compete with him that week.
What if he sucks and Max Duggan has the game of his life?
Fuck no.
That's crazy.
Max fucking Duggan, man.
I would have liked to see Duggan get some more respect this year, obviously, but I feel like primarily TCU's success has fallen on their head coach. He just put Duggan in a really good position to succeed throughout the year, and Duggan's come through a majority of the time. However, I think what defines a Heisman is when shit hits the fan and the coaches aren't really stepping up and your game plan isn't working. You just have a guy that like the other team just can't fucking stop. Like it's just he is that guy, and I feel like for USC all year it's been Caleb Williams. Like it seems like no matter what he can just pull something out of his ass. Similarly to a smaller extent, but what we kind of saw with Travis this year, where he would just run around all fucking day, and we'd be like, all right, like you get win, we don't give a shit. Like you're our MVP, like that's how it works. Everyone has that guy, and for USC, Caleb Williams is that guy. and I feel like he's won this award pretty handily at this point.
Yeah, so now let's dive into, some of the more interesting things that are happening right now. College football carousel of coaching is happening, and I believe Friday opens up the transfer portal. So you're going to see a lot of coaching changes are happening because the season just ended, and then a lot of player changes are going to happen on Friday because of the transfer portal opening. So obviously, going through what's happened so far. Start us off: Dabu Swanee at Clemson, Mark Stoops, Kentucky, Kalen DeBoer at Washington, and Lance Leipold at Kansas. They all signed contract extensions. Lane Kiffin signing a contract extension to Ole Miss. I think it's like $9 million a year or something like that for the next 4 years, something crazy. I think Lane Kiffin's the most overrated head coach. I think he wins the games they're supposed to win, and he never wins the big ones. I saw a statistic that said he has only beaten one team in his entire head coaching career in college that has finished in the top 25 AP poll. And it was Oregon when he was at USC. So I think he's overrated. I think Stu should be happy they didn't get him. But let's dive in. What do we think about Lane Kiffin staying at Ole Miss?
I got completely cocked, but I have a lot of comments on it. I guess we'll let Kaleb go first, and you guys, because I have to charge my computer.
I just feel like that it's like a standstill. Like how good is Ole Miss really? Like, what's their ceiling? You know what I mean? Like, what's his ceiling at Ole Miss? Like, how good is he?
Because of his family, not because of like the report was like his kids and his family didn't want to leave Ole Miss at that point because the offer was better from Auburn.
I know, but like I'm just saying, like how much talent
a year to stay at Ole Miss, bro? That's pretty not bad.
I'm saying he has a nice contract, but I'm saying like, do you see Ole Miss winning the SEC or anything like that? Like that's what I'm saying.
And on top of that, bro, they have no football love. Like they don't sell out their games.
Like not at all.
Like and they're a baseball school. That's what they are. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think he's doing the best is what he can do there. I think he's got great recruiting. He'll still get good recruiting because they got a cool. Dude, any school in the SEC's got a good Southern hospitality football vibe, you know.
Yeah.
At Auburn, even when they went 5-7 this year, they sold out every home game. Every home game was nuts. He doesn't get that at Ole Miss.
Yeah, which is like, I feel like that plays a fact. Like I feel like that, like after how long was his contract extension?
I think 4 years, 9 million, 4 year, whatever 4 times 9 is. Fucking.
Okay, like I could just see him like stop giving a fuck. Like that's kind of on his resume too. Like I feel like he just coaches like his like moment, like with momentum almost. Like if they're winning, like he's really into it. But if they're losing, he'll just be like, man, fuck this shit. Like I don't even care type.
No facts though. Yeah, I agree. Zach?
Yeah. I mean, Lane Train kind of does what he wants. He's always been like that. I mean, don't really say anything else. I mean, outside of, Joey Chestwater or Freshwater, I should say, following around everywhere he goes. He's probably track his spinning habits. But yeah, I mean, good for Lane, man. I mean, he's finally sticking to a school. I feel like he uses college. I feel like he uses head coaching jobs like girls. He just wants to pass off. He's like, oh yeah, I love you, but like, I really want to fuck this other girl. Like, really?
Yeah.
That's how he was like, oh, dude, I'm not leaving. He's like, I love you guys. And then he's secretly like, oh, $70 million. All right, yeah, I'm signing that shit.
I think this is just setting him up he's going to be the Bama coach when Saban retires. That's my theory. He's going to be the Bama coach when Saban leaves, and that's where he wants to go. And that contract sets it up perfectly when you think about Saban's age.
4 years, yeah.
And I think honestly, Saban heard that he was going to go to Auburn, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yo, let's just pump these reports up. Like your contract's basically done. And then let's fuck Auburn since you're basically coaching option A. And I think they did that. I legitimately think they did that. They're still very close. And I think he's going to be the heir to the throne at Bama.
I thought Dabo was going to be the heir to the throne.
No shot. No shot that would happen ever, in my opinion. Now, Lane and Auburn, I wanted Lane because I like Lane personally. I think he's hilarious. The Joey Freshwater, his attitude that Kaleb was talking about. I think it would have been electric to see him versus Saban every single year. It's like Luke Skywalker and Yoda. Like that's like the guys, but I don't think he would have fit in Auburn, Alabama. Because of the same things I just mentioned. I think he's funny as fuck. I don't think the people in Auburn, Alabama, they need a politician.
Yeah.
They need someone who's going to shake hands, kiss babies, go on the Tuesday radio show, have the hard Southern accent. They need it all. They need the guy. They need a Gus Malzahn in a sweater vest, picking his teeth when you're down 40 points against Bama. And then something to get mad at, but then something to rally behind right again the next week. It's just what it is. I think we'll talk about Hugh Freeze in a bit, but I don't think Lane was the fit, even though I wanted him.
Well, yeah, diving into the next, we got Auburn hires Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze has a particularly interesting background. You know, he great coach at Ole Miss. He beat Alabama back-to-back years. Great coach at Liberty. He's done a lot of great things there. Sketchy background. Do I think he's a bad person? No. I think he just got caught doing what everyone else does, personally. And I think he's a great coach. And I told that to Stu, and I said, Stu, I think you want Hugh Freeze. He's your politician. He's got that Southern boy talk. He'll shake your hand. He'll make sweet tea with your ma. Like, he's got everything you need in Auburn. I think he's going to do well there. I think him keeping Cadillac was huge. That's going to help with recruiting and keeping the culture at Auburn. It just comes down to the end of the day. I don't think you should have ever fired Gus Malzahn. I'm sorry. I just really don't. I think it was so stupid to do that.
Yep. I mean, I guess. I don't know. The way I kind of look at this, I mean, who hasn't incidentally butt dialed multiple prostitutes on a Saturday? You know, I give it to about week 8 till we have our first. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Out of Hugh Freeze, but
it was so stupid to do that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, best of luck to him. Hopefully, he can rewrite his own story there in Ole Miss. I mean, if I'm being honest, the girls at Ole Miss, actually, he might be in for a rougher time than we thought.
Auburn. We're talking about Hugh Freeze.
Sorry, yeah, Hugh Freeze. Sorry. I don't know how hot the girls are at Auburn, but let's pray to God he can avoid any issues. Ford. He already has his issues in the past, so I guarantee he will be on a short leash here, very short, or for the entire season, or his entire stay. Who knows? I don't know when they'll start cutting him some slack, but I feel like for the first part of it, they are going to be on his ass, making sure that he gets into no trouble whatsoever. Because if not, they're going to move on to the next guy extremely fast. Although, then again, with how head coaching has gone with Auburn in the past, they may be like, look, we're in a dire state right now. We need you to just do what you can and rebuild this program. And then if you fuck up at that point, then hey, we'll see what we can do to save you. If not, go on your way.
I feel like Grayson, he was not even a great coach at Ole Miss. He was 19-18.
Dude, he wasn't bad though.
I know he had some big wins, but like shit. But then at Liberty, he was
like, at quarterback, dude.
Huh?
He had Bo Wallace at quarterback. You know how hard it is to win games with Bo Wallace?
I'm pretty sure he was slinging that bitch.
Bo Wallace sucked.
Wait, who was the dude? Chad something?
Chad Kelly was the boy.
Okay, that's
Chad Kelly just won a Canadian Football League championship.
Did he? Yeah. That's kind of tight. But I mean, I don't really know much about Hugh Freeze. I know he was good at Liberty.
He was very good at Liberty. He developed Malik Willis too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's one of those ones that like you're not excited. Like I feel like no Auburn fan is like seriously excited, but I feel like if stuff starts moving his way a little bit and like he like can do kind of coach how he wants, then like maybe that they'll end up like liking him and like turning the page a little bit. Because I don't know, from what Stu and I have talked about, like Auburn is very like controlling and like their board like wants to say, and like that's like kind of why Harson's been out. Like they didn't really fuck with him and they didn't really give him a year like any time to develop anything. I think that's what
I think they were right on firing him though.
I'm not saying they were right or wrong, but I'm saying like you got to give if you hire somebody and believe in them, like he shouldn't have been hired if you're not going to give him 4 years. You know what I mean? Like you like what was the point? Like you just kind of wasted 2 years of the program.
I just
think
that
Harson's way different.
You even fired Malzahn.
The powers that be at Auburn never wanted Harsin. Alan Green, the athletic director, did it himself. Like because he had the legal power, he did it himself, and the powers that be off rip hated it, and that's why that whole thing came out with the allegations against that chick They were false. But like, I understand you should have given him 4 years. If he had 4 years at Auburn, I probably would have to just take a step back, and I would be miserable.
You were excited when they hired him at first, though.
No, I actually was super mad for the first 15 minutes, but it takes me 15 minutes to be Auburn's going to win the national championship again. For 15 minutes to convince me. That's just how I am. So, fuck that guy. I literally hate Brian Harsin. Do you know Quinshon Jenkins at Ole Miss? He's the leading rusher in the SEC, most rushing yards. Yeah. He lives like 20 minutes, or he's from 20 minutes from Auburn. He said Auburn's his dream school, like loved it so much. Leading rusher in the SEC, they didn't even offer him. True freshman, they didn't even offer him under Brian Harsin. I'm like, what are we doing here? But yeah, that's a spew on Brian Harsin. I'm glad he's gone.
So let's hear your thought on Hugh Freeze. We all give our opinion.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry about the lagging and the breakup. Of course, the one part of the whole episode that's like tailored for me is when that happens. But okay. Like I said, this was my wish list. Number 1, Deion Sanders. Number 2, Lane Kiffin. Number 3, Dan Lanning. Honorable mention, Hugh Freeze. I heard Kaleb say it in the other room. Hugh Freeze is a hire that he said most Auburn fans aren't excited about. Half of Auburn loves him. Half of Auburn hates him. That's mostly for the off the field issues. And then they're baking in like, oh, you went 10-1 at Liberty, like blah, blah, blah. Like they're trying to discredit his on the field coaching. I think he's a great recruiter and he's a great coach with X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's. He's the politician. I think he's a dumbass. How do you get everyone's doing what he was doing. How are you the guy that gets caught, bro?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I also obviously, like, you're not a moral person if you do that, but he seems like a really nice guy, at least when he's being a politician. So there's also a lot of false allegations out there, like just about extra stories. Like, like when someone's down bad, people just come after you at all angles with weird ass stories about you. So like a lot of these stories you're hearing are kind of fake, but I definitely think he's a dumbass. In his contract, this is like a Kyler Murray thing. He doesn't have control of his Twitter anymore.
No way.
He took his control away. That was literally in his contract. So he automatically doesn't have Twitter anymore. Here's one thing that I'm really concerned about. Bruce Pearl had some NCAA violations at Tennessee, completely cleared his name up, and now he's a coach at Auburn. Great guy. Like everyone loves him.
That's the basketball coach, right?
Yes. And Auburn's like on the come up with basketball. I'm sure he's so pissed that Hugh Freeze is now here because the NCAA will be making weekly trips to Auburn, Alabama to check up on us. And one fuck up and we're done. So I'm very concerned about that. We got off really light last time with our violations of basketball. So that's just super annoying. Basically where I'm at right now is I feel like I'm treading water on this is a good hire. It's like I could be happy. I could be very satisfied and happy with this. But if Deion Sanders goes to USF, Colorado, or an inferior school, I'm going to lose my mind. Could you imagine Deion Sanders being?
Deion's not leaving, bro.
Okay, that's what I hope.
USF, bro.
Deion's
that's what I'm
leaving.
saying, dude. If you go to USF or Colorado, I don't even think he got offered the job from Auburn. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think Deion's leaving until his kids graduate.
And you know what? That's perfect timing for when Hugh Freeze is going to get fired if he sucks.
Yeah.
So if he sucks, I want Deion. I really hope he doesn't suck. I really hope this is a good hire. I have to ride with him. This was step 1 in hiring or re-signing Cadillac and putting him associate head coach. Like he's right there now. He's back to with the running backs too. He's a great recruiter. What Hugh needs to do now is go get some really good people around you. Former Auburn players. We already have a ton that want jobs in the building. So get Auburn players in there, Auburn men, and then go get some great coordinators. Like I think Hugh has a shot here. I really do. But as of right now, what I'm seeing a lot is this is statistically in what they've done in their careers. This is a lateral move on the field from Gus Malzahn to Hugh Freeze. Maybe even a worse move. It's a move down.
Gus Malzahn's a better coach than
I'm saying just record-wise. Their records are very similar, like just with that. Now, let's add all the baggage with Hugh Freeze. It's just annoying.
Yeah, and then look at the SEC championships and the going to the Natty and stuff.
Grayson, I'm with you. Grayson, I've lived this my whole life. You don't have to argue with me. Like, I understand. this guy, both of them have beaten Bama a bunch. Gus Malzahn has the most wins against Bama. It's just, we should have never fired him. We should have given him the extra year. But I got to say, I mean, I was sick of the mediocrity too. It's just eight wins every year. It's just kind of annoying.
The hardest schedule. Auburn plays the hardest schedule in college football every year.
You're preaching to the choir, and I'm glad everyone else is hearing it. We do have the hardest schedule, but the people that are behind the scenes and pulling the strings at Auburn's are the worst human beings of all time. I can't stand them. We should have dropped off the fattest bag of money to Deion Sanders and dumped it on his table. That's what would have just changed my world. Would have changed my life. So yeah, I guess if I had to rate this coaching hire, like I said, I
wanted to ask him, what grade would you give Auburn hiring?
All things considered, like all things, like Deion not leaving, the fact that we fired Gus, Brian Harsin saga, just the context behind everything, his off the field situations, how he recruits. Like I said, I got convinced with Harsin really quickly. I'll give this right now an 8-3. I'll give it an 8-3. I'm on board. I have to be on board. And you've done it. Honestly, you've been a big proponent in convincing me. I've just looked into him more. Like, I think he could work. I don't know if he's gonna work, but I think we have a shot here.
It's one of those it's a weird situation because he has the potential and he could do it. But at the same time, it's like when you think of Auburn, you think of like one of the best programs in the country. Like it should be like.
Well, it is like, dude, that's like the coach. Like this was a dream for a coach, bro. We have like
it's a final
NIL money,
it's
the fan base.
Destination.
It is a final destination. Like, and this is his last shot, and he's going to be on the shortest leash of all time. Yeah. And I really don't think he's going to fuck up, dude. He sounds like a nice Southern guy. So even though his past doesn't show that, so we'll see. But I got to be excited for right now. There's a new era. We finally have our coach. Cadillac's still there. There's no recruits that are saying like, fuck this, I'm leaving. Like when Harsin was here, like no one's entered the portal immediately. Like I think we're going to be getting more recruits, not less. I just think there's potential here. It may not happen 1 year, may not happen in 2. Let's build this thing out. I do think we're going to crush next year though. We're going to beat Bama next year. I'm in. It's that up.
The next is my squadron, Wisconsin Badgers hiring Luke Fickell. So first, let's rewind. Beginning of the college football season, Zachary and I did a podcast on coaches on the hot seat and who we think is going in the hot seat going into the season. And I stated, I don't think he'll get fired, but I think Paul Chryst needs to do something this year. And then they fired him. I'm extremely thankful for what he's done at Wisconsin. And I'm extremely glad that he kept the culture and the winning going. But his time has come. And Jim Leonard, I like a lot. I think he's one of the best defensive masterminds in college football. And there's rumors of keeping him on the defense coordinator, let Luke Fickell run the offense. I love that. But I'm going to tell you, I was shitting bricks on who Wisconsin's going to hire. Because you look at Auburn, you're in the SEC, you've won natties. Like recently, you've done a lot of things. Wisconsin's been hit or miss these past 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if we get another like average hire? Like I was nervous.
Who are they going between?
Like they said they weren't going to look at anything till the season was over. I didn't even know of like anything crazy. I thought we were just going to hire Jim Leonard, which I wouldn't have been against. But like when I look at the University of Wisconsin, I see like Ohio State potential. All the sports at Wisconsin are good.
You might be a little crazy with that take.
So when I heard, because remember last year, last year, Luke Fickell was talked about going to all these jobs because all these openings came. He denied it. I'm staying with Cincy. He's an Ohio State boy, played for Ohio State, raised in Ohio State, 3-time undefeated high school state champ wrestler in the state of Ohio in high school. He's an Ohio boy, so everyone's like, he's just going to wait for Ryan Day to go. Or Cincinnati's going to the Big 12, he's going there. Never in my entire life did I think we were going to get Luke Fickell.
Like, I was really surprised. Surprised.
And then I see the ESPN notification, Wisconsin Badgers narrowing in on Luke Fickell. I'm like, what? And then he did it, and I was like, Stu's going through an aneurysm the last 8 weeks, freaking out about who they're going to get. And overnight, we get fucking Luke Fickell, dude.
I was so jealous. I was literally like, fuck you, Grayson. Like, Luke that's so –
overnight, dude. Guy won seven honors of Coach of the Year last year. Took Cincinnati to the fucking playoffs. I mean, dude, he's a dog.
I think it's a great fit, too.
Dude, I think
me too.
He's an Ohio – he's a Midwest kind of guy.
Yeah.
Press conference, that's the vibe he brings. And I think he's like, you know what? Ohio State doesn't want me. Let's fucking beat them. And I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Everyone's like, well, we want a Wisconsin guy coaching. Look what Paul Chris did. He was a Wisconsin guy. He couldn't fucking beat Ohio State. This guy can beat Ohio State. This is the guy to do it. He's
Nah.
great at recruiting. I think he's the perfect fit. You let Leonard run the defense. You let him kick Mertz's ass out of our school, bring in a transfer quarterback, develop him, keep Bo Allen, get one wide receiver that's nasty. Wisconsin's back in the Big Ten, bro.
Like, honestly, football's better when Wisconsin's good. Like, I love, like, when Michigan and Wisconsin play, like, it shouldn't be, like, both of them should always be good. You know what I mean? I think he really brings, like, another level to the Big Ten that's, like, really
Honestly,
nice that, like, that they'll start being really good again. And I think it's fun for football and, like, just good around for the Big Ten and everybody. So it's a good hire. I was surprised too. Blown.
Mr. Watts.
Man, I don't have much to say. I thought it was a great hire to begin with. You know, Luke Fickell's an amazing man and coach. What I'm more interested in touching on, because I don't have a ton of time left, I want to see who fills in at Cincinnati with his absence. Now, I've got some names I kind of want to rattle off here. I know they have interim head coach Kerry Coombs, who wouldn't be a bad fit if they decided to re-sign him. You know, he's already got some experience there. If they believe they can build a program around him, hey, go for it. But there's some other names that I would like to throw out there, just to see how you guys feel about it. Number one, Jamie Chadwell, head coach of Coastal Carolina. Look, over the past couple of years, 31-5 over the last 3 seasons. I think it's time for him to take that next step up in competition. You know, it might be time to go to a little bit bigger presence, try to work your way into that Power 5 conference. You know, he's done a great job with the Chanticleers. You know, I think it's time to move on from Coastal. Another coach that I kind of want to throw out there, Alex Galesh, offensive coordinator from Tennessee. You know, for what he's done with this Tennessee offense, they've done phenomenal all year, especially this year. Offenses. The only issue is he doesn't have any prior head coaching experience, so I'd be a little wary there to see if they want to lean more of that, like, oh, you haven't had a head coaching job yet. We'll give you a chance. One last name I want to, because I really don't know. Tom Herman, former Texas coach. It's a step down in competition for him. You know, I feel like he just couldn't play up to that level, but he's a good coach. You know, he knows how to rally a team around him. The only problem is when you're in that competitive of a conference, you need to be able to outcoach other teams. And I just don't think he was quite there yet. You move him down a little bit to Cincy, I think he's going to be able to do some great things. Those are some names.
I like the Tom Herman one, but I think too the thing about going to Cincinnati is like Luke Fickell left you with a lot. Like he left you with a great squad. He left you with good recruiting classes. They're about to go to the Big 12, so that's another thing that's going to bless them in 2 years. I think it's honestly, like you said, Zach, it's a good job for a guy that needs to jump up. If you don't want to go straight to Power 5, Cincinnati's good, dude. He showed you could win there. They have good culture there. I think he set it up pretty well for whoever's coming in behind him. Yeah.
I saw another name that was a few other ones. It was Michigan's D coordinator, Jesse Minter, but like that's his first year there. But like their defensive coordinator has been flopped like in and out like crazy, I feel like, these past few years. And then also Brian Hartline is Ohio State's receivers coach. And like, even though you're just the receivers coach, like those dudes speak for themselves of how well he's coached them, and like they're going nuts in the league, and like they seem to have 1 or 2 studs every year that just produce like crazy. So like I think that Zach's list is definitely better and like more well-known names, but like maybe who knows what they're looking for.
I think I know a guy who needs a job.
Who's that?
Brian
Shut
Harsin.
the fuck up.
I just add on because Kaleb did bring up a great point with Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for Michigan. Jesse's father, Rick Minter, was the Cincinnati's head coach from 1994 to 2003. So they have prior connections to Cincinnati if he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. However, I just think some other coaching candidacies are a little bit more favorable. However, if they want to stick some ties there in Cincy, go with him. Also, Cincy's offensive coordinator, I forget his name. I believe I get Gino. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but Coach Gino, OC there, has a great offense already, knows how to work that offense, doesn't have to change much. It's just whether or not he can bring in I mean, honestly, their D coordinator doesn't even have to leave with Fickell leaving. So it'd just be bringing a new OC to work with you. He can still handle play calling. That's also a good job. There's a lot of options there for Cincy. I don't think they're in a position quite like these other schools. We talked about Ole Miss kind of being, or Auburn being in like that struggle bus position. There are a lot of other teams that are just not as fortunate. Since he's in a great place right now, they can move on from there. Another team, which I think has a great shot at moving on quite well, is Stanford from David Shaw. I talked about one of my hot seats at the beginning of the year being David Shaw. He had been severely underperforming at Stanford, and it's about time he saw his way out because Stanford's cutting a lot of their athletic programs this year. And if you're going to do that, then that means you need to be fucking solid as shit in some of your other sports. And football's got to be one of them. You've had your greats in the past. What Davis Mills and Christian McCaffrey have done for you in years past. There's
Bryce Young, Andrew Luck, Ty Montgomery.
Tons of names that you can rattle off there. They do not deserve to be a bad school. I have one guy in mind for this school that I think is going to help them greatly, and I think it's time for him to start to get into head coaching. Greg Roman, the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator. He had previously had ties to Stanford when Jim Harbaugh was at Stanford for a little bit. Shaw was under him for that short while. Dude, it's time to start leading programs, and going down to the college level from the pros is a perfect example of that. You know what a professional environment looks like? Bring that to Stanford. I promise you they will give you a ton of leeway. It's a massive market with NIL and everything. Who doesn't want to go to Stanford with their academics and everything? It's not going to be hard to recruit there. I promise you that.
No, I think, and David Shaw, I mean, although he sucked recently, he showed there could be success there. They've won numerous Pac-12 championships. They won a Rose Bowl under him. Like, they showed that Stanford could be legit. And I think also, I don't know why this job's not getting talked about enough. You can recruit there. The academics there are amazing. And the Pac-12 sucks. So you only have to compete with Oregon and USC.
I feel like that Stanford's also one of those schools where like football is better when they're good. Like when they were good, like they haven't been good in years too.
Years, bro. Shaw is washed. He just couldn't adjust to how football was changing, dude.
He's washed as fuck, dude.
Also
I used to think he was
with Harbaugh's players too.
Yeah,
true.
That's a fact.
Yeah. One last thing I'm going to add in here because I got to take off for class. We talked about Willie Taggart leading FAU. I actually have to write a paper on who's the next head coach.
Coach,
I know.
That'd be crazy.
I wish. I'm going to throw out some names, and then I'm going to say who I'm going to go there. We have Lane Kiffin's brother, Chris Kiffin, who is the Browns defensive line coach. Lane Kiffin kickstarted his head coaching career at FAU, following your brother's footsteps. I'm pretty sure they'd be open arms welcoming you. Another guy, Charlie Wise, Ole Miss offensive coordinator. Why not consider it? One thing FAU's been lacking is a really consistent offense. I think you have a great chance to kind of take over that program. Some other names I'm just going to rattle off real quickly without going into too much depth. Kendall Browse, Arkansas's offensive coordinator. Manny Diaz, Penn State's defensive coordinator, who kind of had a rough stint at Miami, but take a step down from the ACC, learn the ropes of being a head coach at FAU. Here's who I think is going to take the job, though. Kenny Trickett, West Virginia's offensive coordinator. You had previous ties to FAU. You worked under Jimbo Fisher.
Fire me up, Zach Watts.
Worked under Jimbo Fisher. You worked under Bobby Bowden. You worked under Nick Saban. You have their credentials to do what it takes. And guess what? You used to coach at USF. By the way, this year at USF, with your fourth string quarterback and 2 third-string wide receivers, you put up 500 yards and 42 points against a solid Tulsa defense. You were amazing.
He was the tight ends coach at FAU when we were there too for a little bit.
Yes, exactly. He's had experience. Guess what? FAU and USF going to be conference mates. Why not go take over a head coaching job at a school that wouldn't allow you to and go whoop their fucking ass every year?
Dude, it's also so easy to be successful at FAU. You're in South fucking Florida. Your school's a mile away from the beach. It is so easy to recruit and get talent there. It's all around you.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's a lot of guys that Taggart will leave behind at FAU. And here's the thing. Taggart's an amazing recruiter. It's just he kind of was a little lackluster on the actual coaching football side of things. Dude, take over the recruits there. I promise you can do some amazing things. And not to mention, you're joining a conference that doesn't have a necessarily conference defender. With teams moving around, going into better conferences, you have a chance to kind of join there, take over the conference. And hey, if you're not satisfied with that, I guarantee you, if you prove you're successful as a head coach, other teams will take you in the years to come. So that's my pick for the head coaching job there. Obviously, I think they may be waiting to see if Chris Kiffin is interested. Charlie Weiss is also a great opportunity there with the Ole Miss OC. Kendall Browse and Manny Diaz are kind of just.
What What about real quick? Yeah, we'll wrap up with this. But what about the OC at Kansas State, Lincoln Riley's brother?
Ooh.
I would like that too. That'd be cool.
I was reading some. Where did I see his name?
I don't remember his first name, but he's Lincoln Riley's brother.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Garrett Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where he's projected to land.
They were talking about him coming to Wisconsin for a little bit.
Capital, I mean, what the hell? Yeah, no, I mean,
It's all good. We could wrap up with that.
yeah, they did say that Riley could slip in to be Alabama's OC if Bill O'Brien pursues a head coaching job elsewhere. So he may do
He's
a little.
ridiculous.
He sucks.
Sucks.
Yeah, he may do that, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Honestly, he just carries the name Lincoln with him, and that has a lot of weight to it. So obviously, however shitty he does, teams are still gonna give him a chance. That's kind of how I see it.
But yeah, boys, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for giving us some of your
Appreciate
time.
it.
We got a big weekend of sports, college football, obviously NFL, and UFC Orlando. So thank you guys for tuning in. And
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Hell yeah.